Holy shit! Russia's finest? Good, good. You want it, Mason?
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Lpearly Show. Today, we've got another entry in the Smoke Spots series, where we determine the best spots in video games to commit substance abuse. Today, we're going back to Call of Duty Black Ops, aka the best Call of Duty game. I've always said the answer to what is the objectively greatest entry in this franchise to be whichever one your parents or siblings bought for you growing up. Unless you were just a young hustler out the womb, most of the time you were going to be shopping with your parents' money, getting it as a gift, or sharing it with your siblings. Basically what I'm saying is Call of Duty Black Ops is the best Black Ops game. No, I didn't play Black Ops 2. Yes, I do regret not playing it when it came out. Previously on Call of Duty Black Ops Smoke Spots, we went to a few zombies maps, including Kino, 5, and Ascension, but today, we have found the universal remote and we are changing the channel to the multiplayer mode. I know a lot of these classic Call of Duty games can be a toss-up to play online just because of the security, but I was actually able to play a good amount of games on the PS3 without encountering any hackers. I ran into a lot of awful connections, but thankfully not any hackers. I think the Xbox 360 and the PC got the short end of the stick when it comes to security on these old Call of Duty games, which is a shame. I'm pretty sure they can actually just remote detonate your Xbox 360 capacitors like a brick of C4 at this point. It really sucks. I had so much fun playing Black Ops 1 multiplayer again.
We've taken the lead. We've taken the lead.
But enough of the introductions. I've recently opened up a Ko-Fi account where you all can send me real-life Call of Duty points as you see fit. Tax season is coming up and we all know the deep state isn't cutting me any breaks. I can't say anymore, there's a black van pulling up outside. Ah! They found me! Ah! The deep state! Ah! Additionally, I have recently started streaming to YouTube, so I don't need to show my Twitch channel as much, but I'm still going to, because I still have some streams that are exclusive over on Twitch. YouTube really doesn't like me playing Fallout New Vegas, for example, which, yeah, I would like to do that. Even just by watching this video and not skipping through this section means a lot to me and the algorithm, so I really appreciate everyone that hasn't double tapped their screen and skipped through this entire section. I'm really flattered by all the support. We have actually hit YouTube Partner recently, which you know what that means. Anyways, the first spot on the list is one that you absolutely could not get away with not putting on this list, and that is Nuketown. I think Nuketown has got to be the most famous Call of Duty map of all time. I think the only things that could really compete with it are maybe OG Rust from Modern Warfare 2, and maybe that one Parisian map from Resistance from Modern Warfare 3. Maybe, but I still think Nuketown takes it. I think Nuketown and Call of Duty Zombies are just the cultural legacy of classic Call of Duty, I'm not gonna lie with you. Getting back to the video, I think OG Nuketown is actually a pretty good spot to smoke. Considering you're about 10 minutes away from getting Bikini Atolled, I don't think there's a better time and place to spark up. That is provided you can find a solid 30 seconds to relax on Nuketown where you're not getting noob-tubed, shot, or stabbed. I think the linguistic history of the word noob-tube would actually be fascinating to study. I like to imagine the first guy who punctuated his slur lexicon with the words noob-tube probably felt like he had crafted verbal Mjolnir. Anyways, shout out to Nuketown. You can smoke in the houses. That's pretty much it because like I said, you're gonna get shot, stabbed, or noob-tubed every 30 seconds in this map. If you sit down to get high, you will meet God. I suppose the houses maybe aren't the greatest place in the world to spark up because there are all these mannequins in here, which, if you guys remember the Old World Blues Smoke Spots 2 video, nearly every place with a mannequin in it is going to be an automatic disqualification for a smoke spot, but I think we can make an exception for the houses on Nuketown. You just can't not include Nuketown on a list like this, man.
There's a nuke in this club.
I just shoved a nuke up my pussy.
Nukes are now legal.
Next up for us is Summit. I'm partial to include this one because it's one of my all-time favorites, but also because it's just a great looking map. I think the whole map could have an argument for being a smoke spot, which is going to be a bit of a recurring theme in here, but we're actually going to single out this little cable car first of all. You think cigarettes are the real killer? This little jump is probably responsible for half of the fall damage deaths in this game. But, like I said, I think anywhere else on this map would also be a great spot to smoke if you don't feel like making the leap of faith. I like this main building that's constantly got fighting going on, and these other buildings by spawn are also worthy. I'm a real sucker for how they portray all these useless terminals and shit in these old Black Ops games, and I think the little papers sprawled across the floor in here just make it feel very lived in and cool. Despite some games from this generation aging like spoiled milk, I do think some of the older Call of Duty games do a pretty good job of holding up over the years. I feel like a lot of people don't really recognize this, but back then a lot of these games got a lot of shit for having a brown and black color palette, which I do agree that a lot of games back then fell victim to this, but I think Black Ops 1 at least gave you a good amount of color depending on the area. The economy is in shambles again. Give me my piss filter in video games back, dude. I will say Black Ops 1 probably could have turned the saturation up a little bit because every map that got ported to a different game from Black Ops 1 looks a lot better with actual colors in it. Moving on from one wintry Black Ops 1 map to another wintry Black Ops 1 map, we're gonna go from Summit to Array. I like Array a little bit less than Summit gameplay-wise, but I still find it very aesthetically pleasing, very easy on the eyes, if you will. Plus, Array has some excellent smoke spots because of the map being a little bit bigger, which I think that's also why I don't like this one as much as Summit. I would love to spark up a doob in these center rooms right here, on the broken satellite, and on this elevated tower right here. I think all of these make you get liable to get shot in about 30 seconds, but it's a cow farm. There's gonna be cows outside.
Randall, you're gonna get shot if you smoke there.
It's Call of Duty, lady. You're gonna get shot out here. Overall, Array is just a cool map. But this map is just so fucking big. It's so much running around and then getting shot. If you actually play through it, I just can't, can't back it as much as I can back Summit. Moving on to our last snow-covered map for the video, we're going to be taking a quick stop at Grid. I don't think it has any really notable spots like Summit or Array, but I like the colors on this map given it was made in the aforementioned piss era, brown and black era of video games. Especially in this center building with all the technology and stuff, I love all the pretty lights on the terminals here. Top 10 spots to die of frostbite in Call of Duty Black Ops 100 billion emoji. We're going somewhere a little bit warmer after being done with these snow maps, and we're going to be heading to Jungle. Jungle has a lot of really good views in general, but I think the spot that you all know is going to be number one is this cliff up here in the center. This was the most contested camping spot back in the heyday of this game, and for good reason, because you can pretty much see everywhere in the map from this spot. If you camped up here with an AR or a sniper back in the day, fuck you. You're good at this game, but fuck you. Like I was saying earlier, I think Jungle is a map that really benefited from having the saturation turned up in later games.
You know who else got brought back in Call of Duty Black Ops 3?
Firing Range is an all-time hood classic of a Call of Duty map, but I think that's evidenced by the fact that there's as many iterations of this map as there is non-Disney Star Wars movies. It actually even outnumbers them by one if you're willing to count the Black Ops 6 and 7 versions of it as different maps. No, this wasn't an elaborate 6-7 joke. I promise you my brain isn't that rotted out of my head yet.
6-7! Yeah!
My top spots on this map are going to be that tower that everyone camps in for 2 minutes and then dies, and this shitty trailer right here. I've had some of the best nights of my life getting extremely blasted in shitty wood panel trailers like this and getting fucking crazy on the sticks in Super Smash Bros. Melee. Super Smash Bros. Smoke spots soon? Maybe. I would like to nominate this plywood building as well, since a plywood building next to an already abandoned building is pretty much one of the best spots to smoke at. But unfortunately, this plywood offers pretty much no bullet resistance, and you can pretty much just shoot right through it. I think maybe this other building with the tin roof would be a little bit better to smoke in, since it does have some bullet resistance on the materials. But yeah, other than that, shout out Firing Range. And shout out to this little hidey hole, this little cubby right here. You could definitely curl up like an armadillo and hotbox this bitch. While we're talking about abandoned buildings, we've got to mention Zoo, one of the DLC maps for this game, which is, you guessed it, an abandoned zoo. There are a few standout spots here, but honestly, this is one of those where the entire map is the smoke spot. I mean, you get the thrill of smoking in an abandoned building without any of the risk to security, tetanus, or still water. I do think parts of this map can be a bit creepy, which I think is the intention. I wonder if this map takes its inspiration from the Pripyat amusement park or from Spree Park, the abandoned East German theme park that became somewhat infamous as pictures of it kind of started to leak out onto the internet. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say two things can be true at the same time, and it probably took a little inspiration from both of them. Peep this tomahawk clip one more time.
We've taken the lead. We've taken the lead.
So I'm recording the video and I just realized I forgot to write stadium into the script for this video, but I think it's absolutely a great smoke spot. That little spot that runs along the top of the little runway that runs across the top of where like the actual stadium is on Stadium. Great smoke spot. Some of those interior buildings too. Great smoke spot. The actual ice rink that is really only like a spawn for like one team. Great smoke spot. Didn't want to not include Stadium, but I'm recording the video, like I'm literally in between, in between Zoo and Kowloon right now, and I'm like thinking about all the DLC maps in Black Ops, and I'm like, oh shit, I actually really like this map, and I think it would be good for the video, but I forgot to fucking write it into the script, so, Unscripted Lpearly section. You could tell it was unscripted because I didn't know what the fuck to say. And also there was no funny jokes in the middle of it. Funny jokes. The next DLC map that I did actually remember to write into the video is going to be Kowloon. I forgot this one was even a DLC map because it was one of the first DLCs. I could have swore this was a base game Black Ops 1 map. Funnily enough, this isn't even the first time we've mentioned Kowloon Walled City on this channel. Anyways, Kowloon is a great smoke spot, but it is pissing rain on this map whenever you're playing on it, so, you know, automatically the indoor spots are going to be a little bit better by virtue of not getting rained on and it putting out your doobie.
If its tail flame goes out, it'll die.
Of course, I do think there are some spots outside on this map that are very beautiful and worth getting wet for, like some of these spots on the edge of the map. Of course, I'm probably partial to saying what looks good and what doesn't because I've always been a fan of the Kowloon Walled City. Learning about its history and how it inspired a lot of early cyberpunk media like Blade Runner and Deus Ex is actually, you know, very interesting to me. Even though this map is really just putting some Black Ops 1 campaign resources to good use, I still really love it. The one spot I'm going to specifically call out by name for Kowloon is the main building that everyone fights over, you know, with all the little monkeys in it. Now, I wholeheartedly disavow getting your animals high in any shape, way, or form because I don't think it's a moral thing to do to force an altered state on your animal. But I think after the scientific torture that these monkeys have been through, maybe they deserve to get smoked out a little bit. Please, nobody get mad at me for joking about smoking out a fictional spider monkey, please. Moving on from the semi-depressing urban hellscape of Kowloon, we're going to a hotel. Or the hotel, rather. Capital H, proper noun. Hotel is a pretty cool map. I even managed to get a chopper gunner for all of 4 seconds whenever I played it on stream.
Hey yo, Mr. White, hop on Call of Duty. Chopper gunner, bitch. I gotta look up that video after this. That was my fucking vocal stem for like a year and a half. I think, oh, that's me, shit. Chopper gunner. No, this motherfucker shot me down immediately.
Yo, Mr. White, hop on Call of Duty.
God damn it, Jesse. I told you not to call me here. My wife can't know that I'm a gamer.
Yeah, bitch. Chopper gunner.
This map is really luxurious compared to what we've been looking at so far, but there are going to be a couple spots that do take the cake. I think it's really hard to choose a bad spot per se. The abandoned swimming pool wouldn't be bad. The actual hotel is very nice. Some of these views, some of these overlooks are really nice as well. One spot in specific I absolutely had to give a shout out to was the hotel elevators. That's right, we got to it. Obligatory hotbox spot for the video. Honestly, the hotel elevators are probably one of the best spots on the list because they give you a little moment of solace to, you know, spark up whenever you actually go up them and you're invulnerable to other people getting in the elevator. As far as I know, I could be wrong. Actual goated Call of Duty smoke spot. I almost regret making this list so long because I could have made it a lot shorter and just put hotel elevators. Would have made the video a lot easier to make, a lot shorter, but I guess you guys wouldn't like that, would you? The last spot on our list is going to be drive-in, which is not even the first time we've had a drive-in as a spot on this list, which I don't think is a coincidence at all. Given the fact that a drive-in is just an outdoor theater that you can sit in a field and watch or roll up in your car, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better spot to light up. I don't know if the Black Ops 1 drive-in would be a place you want to drive your car, though. This place is pretty broken down and shitty, and I think there's a guy with a gun behind the movie screen. I don't think you'd be watching any movies here except for the kill cam when the guy with the gold grenade launcher FAMAS pops out from behind this rectangle and puts 5 in your chest. Great map to smoke to, regardless of all that. I like this trailer that's right next to the drive-in area that sort of reminds me of the firing range trailer, and we all know how I feel towards shitty wood panel trailers. There's also this abandoned shed that people like to camp in, these abandoned buildings, blah blah blah, you get the point. I'm assuming all of us have played drive-in at some point because it felt like when I was playing Call of Duty Black Ops 1 multiplayer for this video, it was like the most common map that was coming up on rotation for some reason. I don't know if there's some kind of algorithm that governs what map is going to be chosen for these map rotations, but if there is an algorithm, it has somehow concluded that people like drive-in more than nuketown, which I don't think is the case. That pretty much covers it for the main smoke spots on this list, but we are going to have a lightning round of sorts of spots that I really liked, but I didn't really feel like including them as main smoke spots for one reason or another. First up, Discovery. Discovery is cool, but I already had 3 winter maps on here already, and Discovery doesn't really have anything super cool going for it besides the Aurora Borealis and the Abandoned Research Center vibe, which Summit already fulfills on top of being an all-time classic map. I completely forgot Discovery existed until I made this video. Summit has been in the back of my head since I stopped playing Call of Duty. It's low-key not a competition. Discovery does have a cool The Thing vibe going on, but that's really about it. Sorry, Discovery fans. I don't want to smoke somewhere that reminds me of John Carpenter's The Thing.
I'm so fucking scared right now, you shut up!
Hazard. Visually, I think Hazard is very interesting. Additionally, it's a golf course, so of course you'd want to have a smoky smoke here. but I remember this map sucking shit to play it whenever I played it as a kid. I didn't get to play it when I was replaying more Black Ops 1 multiplayer for this video, so I didn't get a chance to play it again with my developed prefrontal cortex and form another opinion on it. I know it's a remake of a map from World at War, so I suppose some people liked it and wanted the map back. Overall, not really one of my favorites. Cool Caddyshack references though. I was always more of an airplane guy myself. Havana. Havana is a cool map, and of course you'd want to spark up with a Cuban in the capital city of Cuba, but I think this map is overall just too big for me to really enjoy, as well as having some really gross lines of sight and spawn camping issues. Plus, I feel like there would be a lot of overlap with Hotel, which I just think is better as a map. Plus, Hotel has the elevators and Havana doesn't, which... how are you supposed to compete with the Hotel elevators, honestly? Overall, Havana is a victim of not being as good as Hotel, but I thought it still deserved a minor mention. Stockpile. Stockpile is a fun map to play on gameplay-wise, not super interesting visually, despite holding up pretty well art style-wise, I think. It didn't really have enough uniqueness to warrant mentioning, as well as all the other snow maps. The doors are cool, but since it still leaves you open to attacks from this direction, you can't really use them to hotbox them like you can with, again, something like the Hotel elevator. Overall, I like Stockpile a lot, but I think it would be pretty hard to justify giving it a spotlight alongside the other snowy maps. I will say out of all these though, Stockpile is the one I think got the closest to being an actual spot. A victim of this game just having a shit ton of snow maps. Hangar 18. Hangar 18 gets an honorable mention, I suppose just for being an active American research facility as opposed to an abandoned Soviet facility, which this game has done with maps a couple of different times. They at least tried something different, but I don't think it really worked because this map is like Discovery where I completely forgot it existed until I was making this video, which is pretty impressive. How do you make a map in Area 51 and make it boring as fuck? This should literally be an instant Call of Duty classic. I guess fighting on the Blackbird is cool, and the map plays well enough from a gameplay perspective, but it's kind of interesting to think about this game literally had Area 51 as a map and nobody cared and flocked to Nuketown, which is pretty much 2 houses, a school bus, and a U-Haul. Alright everybody, we started with a Nuketown mention, and we are going to end with a Nuketown mention. I appreciate everybody who watched this long. I know this was a little bit of a longer one, so I do appreciate everyone who stuck around for the entire video. I'm glad to be back to making videos. I appreciate the support from you all. Check out the Ko-Fi, stay warm, and see you next time.